It's 1955. The Philippines looks like Asia's next big success story. Once an American colony, the country is now full of English speakers and feels more modern than its Asian neighbors, with an income per person higher than Thailand, Indonesia, and South Korea. The capital, Manila, boasts large American-style stores selling Western goods that are not available elsewhere in the region. The future looks bright. 70 years later, things seem pretty different. Rather than becoming Asia's next success story, the Philippines is frequently referred to as the sick man of Asia. The same nations it once surpassed, South Korea, Indonesia, and Thailand, are now far more developed. While the national GDP grows, living standards for most Filipinos have not improved. If anything, many families still lack decent homes, struggle to find proper food, and can't afford school for their kids, especially in rural areas. This brings us to a crucial question. For a country whose future looked so promising in the 1950s, how come that 70 years later, the Philippines is still stuck in the poverty cycle? Well, there is not one simple answer. But in this video, we'll try to understand why the Philippines missed its opportunity to become Asia's next economic powerhouse. Please, if you enjoy this kind of research, don't forget to subscribe to Asia Explained, a new channel dedicated to thought-provoking insights on Asia's politics, economics, history, and culture. Now let's explore the 4 major causes that are still keeping the Philippines behind. Number 1. A broken system. 400 years of Spanish rule left a deep mark on the Philippines. No wonder today the country has grown into something that is more similar to Mexico than to its Asian neighbors. Under Spanish rule, the Philippines was divided into rigid social classes. The Spaniards only collaborated with wealthy Filipino landowners, while the masses were pretty much treated like slaves, perceived as an inferior race, and even discouraged from learning Spanish. The Spanish also made sure that those who supported their rule would be able to keep control of vast lands and haciendas. This is how Filipino landowners quickly learned how to maintain their privileges through a network of connections, patronage, and nepotism, supporting the colonial rulers while exploiting the labor of the masses. Sadly, that broken system has survived until today. At the moment, the Philippines has one of the highest income inequalities in the world. The social structure is still designed to protect the interests of a handful of influential families, rather than raising the living standards of the Filipino population as a whole. Today, the same old families are still dominating politics and collaborating among themselves to make sure they hold on to land, resources, and that they maintain the same power that was granted to them for generations. Sure enough, the legacy of the Spanish colonial times is what set the stage for today's broken system. And the problem is, this system is very hard to dismantle. Number 2. Monopolies and low competition. The Filipino elite also controls key sectors of the national economy, a dangerous form of wealth concentration that creates de facto monopolies. For example, today the telecommunications sector is dominated by 2 companies only, both owned by influential local families. Through close ties with politicians, these monopolies basically push laws and regulations that allow them to be the only companies in the game. They thus create barriers for all those small and medium-sized enterprises that would like to enter the market, and also, very often, for foreign investments. Needless to say, this monopoly culture creates an environment that pretty much kills competition. The Filipino elite is happy enough to cling to their businesses or agricultural land. They either focus on selling traditional crops or providing goods and services, always at high prices and low quality, knowing no one else will ever challenge them anyway. In addition, this economic elite is not really interested to pursue a solid industrial plan. It is rather content to keep things as they are. On a similar line, politicians don't see the incentives to design a solid industrial policy, with investments in buildings, equipment, technology, and roads. But again, this kills any form of productivity and competition, not only preventing new companies to enter the market and introduce better services and products, but also preventing the country from achieving the factory economy that has raised other Asian nations out of poverty. Number 3. Land reform. Everybody knows that redistributing land could help reduce poverty. When people own their land, they're more likely to invest in it and work hard. Well, in the Philippines, various governments have promised land reform many times, except that little has happened. Today, if you travel to Negros Island, the heart of sugar plantations, you'll find a landscape still reminiscent of Spanish colonial times. Drive through miles of mango and banana fields, and you will see massive farms, haciendas, landlords in their mansions, and huge private armies guarding their land and using force when necessary. Then in the background, landless workers earning $2.60 a day. They live in bamboo homes without electricity and rarely can afford meat. Today, around 12 million rural workers remain landless, though the Philippines has rich fertile land that could be highly productive. Simply put, the country is still stuck in semi-feudal conditions. Yet somewhere around the wealthy neighborhood of Makati, you might still hear some businessmen claiming that Filipino farmers are just lazy, unambitious, content to be peasants rather than entrepreneurs. But the truth is that it would be very irrational for a Filipino farmer to work hard when he already knows that the fruits of his labor will go to the landlord and never to his own pockets. Number 4. Brain drain. Some jokingly say that Filipinos have one national sport: leaving the country. Years ago, a survey asked 207 Filipino students what nationality they would prefer if they could choose, and only 10 answered Filipino. Indeed, for many citizens, personal success means living abroad. After all, unlike some of their Asian neighbors, Filipinos speak English well, which only makes it easier for them to leave. So why stay to fix a broken system when better options are out there? And so every year, millions of Filipinos take jobs they can't find at home. Seafarers, maids, cooks, nurses, doctors, teachers. Their remittances totaling $17 billion each year often work as a welfare system for old parents and kids back home, a job that should be shouldered by the government. Sadly, this exodus has led to a massive brain drain, depriving the country of a strong middle class that could take a key role in developing the national economy. All in all, you can see how the Spanish colonial era still shapes the very nature of the country. It is a system designed against any sustainable productivity with no meaningful transition, from a rural feudal economy to an industrial middle-class oriented one, without real change. That is, industrial growth, support for small businesses, competition, land reform, and less brain drain. The Philippines risks remaining just like Benigno Aquino Jr. once famously described in his words. Here is a land in which a few are spectacularly rich, while the masses remain abjectly poor. Here is a land consecrated to democracy, but run by an entrenched plutocracy. Here, too, are people whose ambitions run high, but whose fulfillment is low and mainly restricted to the self-perpetuating elite. Unfortunately, after more than 40 years, his words still ring true in the Philippines. See you in the next video.